It's another Saturday morning with the All About Real Estate show. Pete Allaer with us in studio from Riverside Realty. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. How are you today?
Surviving. Thanks for being with us here once again as the colors are changing outside.
Yes, fall is upon us.
With that fall season, does that bring any changes to Riverside Realty?
Well, every season has a little twist to it. I mean, generally speaking, fall can get a little bit quieter. People tend to think about, what's after fall, but winter, right? So that can be a little challenging, although we've had great weather. So, and again, I've said it before, in this market, it's a seller's market, so anytime's a good time to sell because, we don't have enough. So it's been okay. It's still busy, still lots of demand.
We've been learning a lot on Saturday mornings with this segment alongside Pete and the team at Riverside Realty, and I really want to commend you guys for that because there's a lot we think we know but don't know enough of or don't operate properly when it comes to buying, selling our home, and we're going to learn more about that here today as well. We hear lots of different terms that get thrown out, and quite frankly, sometimes we have no idea what we're talking about on the opposite end.
Right. So one thing I wanted to talk about today is sort of the difference between an appraisal, a letter of opinion, or market value. So those are kind of three terms that are used all in the same sort of, sentence quite often.
Yeah, a lot of people think those are three things that are all the same, but you're here to say they're not.
That's right. So I get calls and people will ask me, I want to get an appraisal on my house. So the first thing I say is, okay, well, who's driving the appraisal? So what are you using it for? So, typically an appraisal is driven by the bank. Mm-hmm. So the bank will say, okay, Johnny, you bought a house. We need to do an appraisal on the house you purchased to make sure that whatever you paid for it, it has that value. So that's typically an appraisal, and that's done by an accredited appraiser, which there are some realtors out there that are also accredited appraisers, but generally speaking, that's all they do is appraisals. They're not normally realtors, or they don't normally sell homes. So that's an appraisal. So the next thing people ask me for is a letter of opinion, or they'll ask for an appraisal and I'll say, well, what's it for? And they'll say, well, maybe it's an estate and someone had passed away and the lawyer just needs something. Well, then we can do what's called a letter of opinion. And that's a little more closer to what we feel that the house will sell for. Okay. So that's a letter of opinion. And then that as well is something that, if it's strictly for will purposes, maybe for a lawyer's asking for it, or family members want this to try to figure something out on what the estate's worth, we'll do that. Sometimes we charge for it. I mean, sometimes, we'll do it, depending on who it is or who's calling. Sometimes we'll do it, sort of as a goodwill gesture as well. It just depends. Then what happens from there is it's what, like, market value. So if someone then says, so if I say, okay, well, you asked for an appraisal, but that's not really what you're asking for. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's not. This is now if you just want to sell your house. So again, they'll call it. Normally they'll say an appraisal. So then once I get to the root of, okay, oh, well, you want to sell your house. Yes. Oh, well, that now all of a sudden
count me in.
Yeah. Now that's market value now, yes. Right? So, of course, what a lot of people will say to me is, oh, I live at 123 Main Street. What do you think my house is worth, right? And people typically want to know, like, right away. Like they call you. It's like,
you don't need to see it. Trust
me. Yeah. Oh, I've got this. I got that. The roof's good. I always say to them, well, what's your address? Let me do some research. Let me look it up. What's a good time? I want to go out and see them and see the home, right? I want to look and see what it looks like. I mean, I can sometimes give ballparks, just, it's somewhat, like, I always joke with people. I say, well, it's kind of like playing darts with a blindfold on, you got to be able to see the target to know where to throw the dart. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I can, I think your house might be, somewhere between $200 and $250, depending on what I find when I get there. If they really are insistent on getting a dollar number, like, off the bat, right? But generally, I say, let me come out. Let's make an appointment. I'll come out and I'll go through your home, and then I'll be able to tell you what I think the home should sell for. So those are kind of those three, appraisal, letter of opinion, and then market value. And then, of course, the other thing that we find more often than not is, and it's human nature, we all think that our house is the nicest house in the street, worth the most money.
Give me the most money, Pete.
Yeah. So when it comes to the actual market value, we don't just pull that out of midair. Like we'll look at it. We'll say, okay, it has, I always say there's first 5 things are what I call infrastructure. So, roof, windows, furnace, foundation, and what's the 5th one? Foundation. So you got those infrastructure items, right? And I look at those first and say, all right, is it an old roof, a new roof, is, and so on. Then you go inside the house and you start looking at things like furnace, electrical, right? How is that? Then from there I go into kitchens, bathrooms, right? And then after that I go to flooring. So those are kind of like the steps I go through. So because that's sort of what buyers are looking for, right? Yeah. So they walk up to a house and it's like, oh, it's got a good roof, the windows are good, the foundation's good. I walk in the house. The furnace is new, the electrical's up to date.
Those big ticket items.
Right. Then they go to the kitchen. Oh, the kitchen's nice. How's the bathrooms? Bathrooms are good. From there, flooring. The rest of it is more just, okay, well, if the colors aren't the greatest, that's minor things, right? But those are the things I go through. And then most of the time what I do then is I'll go back, I'll tell them, okay, now that I've seen your home, I know the size, I know the bedrooms, all the rest, I know the layout. I've seen all the infrastructure. I've seen all the interior. Now I'm going to go back to my office and I'm going to do a little bit more research. And then I'm going to give you what I think the home should sell for. And then from there, we do our strategy on how are we going to, list the home? How are we going to do a strategy to get you as much as we can, right? So again, I always try to tell people, when I go into a home, like I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to give you the best advice that I think I should give you, right? So that's kind of the system.
And that strategy is something we'll talk about as our morning continues here on the All About Real Estate show. And the strategy has certainly changed over years. My dad grew up in the you offer low, they offer high, you meet somewhere in the middle. Doesn't necessarily work that way anymore.
No, absolutely not. No, it's so, I say that especially to like the old school thinkers that haven't bought a house in a while, they're like, well, we can always come down or they're used to that, right? It's that
bargaining.
Yeah. It's that let's come.
This isn't the market anymore.
No, it's not. It's that market is out the window. It's just not the way it is. And it's so crazy because, I've said before, in this market, it's more important than ever to hit that right price out of the gate because it just, there's so many buyers waiting. And if you don't hit that right price and you're too high, these buyers, they just pass by and your house becomes something behind us that we don't even think about again. And that's a tough thing to do, to hit that right mark, but that's what we try to do.
It's another reason why you've got to stick with the local experts who know that local game as well. Riverside Realty, Pete Allaer in the house here with us as another edition of the All About Real Estate radio show continues. We'll have more with Pete in just a moment. Welcome back to the All About Real Estate radio show here with Pete Allaer of Riverside Realty. Find details online at riversite.com. We always go over our weekly listings here from Pete and Company, educating us about the difference today between appraisals, the letter of opinion, and actual market value. I will ask you while you're here, Pete, we talked about those. You said the big 5, the big ticket items you look at when you are giving the value, different than an appraisal on that home. What drives that value up? It's kitchen and bathroom you mentioned. Are those still the two areas to look at?
Yeah, certainly inside a home, I'd say, kitchens and bathrooms are 2 items that people look at. Kitchen, bathrooms, and flooring seems to be kind of like the staple items inside the home. I mean, the infrastructure items, like I say, the roof, and I always tell people it's a fine line sometimes on, do you put a new kitchen in or do you, more often than not, unless you can do it yourself or you're really good at, even doing part of it, quite often, if you don't have a new kitchen in there and you want to put a new kitchen to sell your home, a lot of times you're lucky if you get your money back at that point. Because if you got to hire it all done, right? So, and sometimes, you think, oh, well, I taste, I'm going to put a new kitchen in. And then the buyer walks in and they're like, cherry cupboards. I don't want cherry. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that works. So we do help people with that when we come in, and determining market value. Like, so people ask me, oh, should I put a new bathroom in or something? And I'll sort of look at it and make a call at that point, looking at it and say, well, you know what? Your bathroom is clean. It's neat. You know what? You're okay. Leave your bathroom, because the next person is going to come in and want to do what they want most of the time anyways, right? But certainly, if your roof is just about shot and you're thinking of selling your house, I mean, something like a roof, like that's curb appeal, right? So that's something they see driving by. So if they drive by and it's like, oh, the roof is completely shot, needs to be, replaced yesterday, that might be something you might say, well, hey, you know what? I better sell. Even if you just get your money back, it'll sell your home, because they'll come in, right? They won't just drive by, say, nah, we don't want that. No, the roof is shot, forget it, right? So outside, some of the things are more important, I think, to make sure, especially like I always say, cleanliness, like clean things up, right? Those kind of things. So
for me, the first question's roof. When I got in that game, it was roof and looking at the furnace and foundation, which you mentioned. That's what I'm looking at. I think that's a guy thing too, maybe, stereotypically.
Those are sort of long-term, big-ticket items. If that's done, like okay, well, I can always, play around with the bathroom, maybe do part of it myself. Well, I probably can't replace a furnace myself. I probably can't put a new foundation in myself. Like, those are bigger items that and big dollar items.
Of course. Pete Allaer here with us from Riverside Realty on the All About Real Estate radio show. What's cooking at Riverside? Let's hear those listings.
Well, we got a few new things on the table here. We've got I'll start with my coming soon. I've got a coming soon in Chatham, 98 Sheldon Ave in Chatham. It's a 1-floor, 2-bedroom with a basement, a little garage, nice little spot. It's coming soon. It'll be up, I guess it'll be up on Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. And then some of the ones we have up and running already, we'll stick with Chatham. We have another listing in Chatham at 127 Norway Maple Drive in the Maples in Chatham. Beautiful spot, beautiful home, big, nice, large family home. We've got that one up and running. And then we also have a couple here in Walsburg. We've got 210 Wall Street, which is an awesome family home, a very large, good-sized family home, priced reasonably for anyone out there that's looking, maybe has saved some money up and wants to get into home ownership, and they have a couple of kids. It's a great spot there, and it's reasonably priced. And then we've got an awesome 1-floor retirement home on Winter Circle at 218 Winter Circle. 1-floor attached garage, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. It's a perfect retirement type home, something that's been quite popular this year. A lot of retirees moving in, as well as local people that want to downsize. So that's some of our listings we've got. And again, if we're talking about these letters of opinion and market values, if anyone is thinking of selling their home, reach out to us. Our office line at 519-627-3381, or they can Facebook messages us. They can website. They can call direct to any one of our team members. Any one of us would be happy to come out and guide you through this. Or if you want to check out any of our listings, riverside.com. And of course, in these day and age, we can be reached very easily, very quickly. And we're always there to help.
In talking about our market value, big part of the conversation here today, too. Again, we've talked at length on this program about how some folks think maybe it's better to go to the big city to get my real estate guy. You guys literally know this is your backyard. Another fine example that the fair and realistic market value here in Chatham, Kent, here in the Burg.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, it's important to hit that number, hit it right. And if you can hit that number right, is the way you'll get the most out of your home. Is market it properly, hit the number right, and we're here to help. I mean, sometimes people will say to us, oh, you just want a quick sale, or you want to price it so it sells quick. No, I want to price your home so that you can get the most out of it. And in this market, the bottom line is it just seems like, if you can sell it within that first week to 10 days, that's how you're going to get the most out of it. So it's just the market. We read the market and we adjust what we can to accomplish what the seller wants.
Pete Allaer here with us from Riverside Realty in the Berg. Those spots for our listings here again this week coming soon. 98 Sheldon Ave in Chatham. Also on the market in the Maples, 127 Norway Maple in Chatham. In the Berg, 210 Wall Street and 218 Winners Circle. Details at riversite.com. As Pete mentioned, you can give them a call at 627-3381. Pete, as always, great to spend time with you, my friend.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a good day.